Hey guys, so um, we have a special testimony, and the Bible says that you overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of His testimony. Well, we have a testimony, and we hope this testimony bless somebody today. So before we get started, my name is Gabriel Ori, and this is my beautiful wife,
Robin.
and um, we got married in 2017. And 2017 was a very special year. My wife and I, we joined, uh, we took our vows together. And, when we got married, it was the end of 2017. And, we really desired to start a family right away. And, so we was excited about it. We got married. I told my friends, like, look, she's gonna be pregnant within the first month. Within the first month of us being together. Well, that didn't happen, but we just kind of went along with things. 2018 came in, and let's say 6 months down the line. 6 months down the line, still no pregnancy, no nothing, and my wife got a little concerned, like most females do.
Right.
My wife got a little concerned that it may be something that we're missing or whatnot. So I have a son already. My son Markel, he's grown now, but still my son. And so my wife went to her doctor and started to ask questions about it, like, hey, we've been married for 6 months now, and trying to get pregnant and is doesn't seem to be happening. And so I know like with pregnancy, it's a little more to it than just having sex and then all of a sudden pregnant. It doesn't really happen that way, does it? Mm-hmm. So so it's like you have to kind of know your body, and the woman goes through her menstrual cycle, and then right after that, there's a small window that opens up for that fertilization time to happen. The eggs are released, etc. So her doctor said, hey, well, I'll recommend you to a fertility specialist. Mm-hmm. And my wife came and told me, and I was like, babe, let's just wait. It's only 6 months. Let's just wait maybe a year. After a year, then we can go and try to, get this checked out, looked into. So my wife, she listened to me, and we waited. Now we had a lot of plans for our life. We're the type that we plan out ahead of time, and so now on our timetable, we had this baby in there.
Right.
Super duper, like, hey, this baby's in here. Once the baby's here, now we can do this. If we do that, if we do this. But no baby. So a year went by, and my wife decided to go to the fertility specialist. And so the fertility specialist, saw both of us. Right. And we had to do an array of testing and things like that to see if it's any one particular thing that may be going on with any one of us individually. Needless to say, we both did the test, and my wife and her mother went to see the results and everything like that. I got my results and everything was fine on my end. She got her results, and the doctor gave her some news that neither one of us expected. And you want to say what the doctor kind of said?
Well, on the result day when my mother and I went to the office, he stated that we weren't be able to conceive on our own. It would have to be either adoption or it'd have to be donor eggs. So of course you hear that news, and I just remember just breaking down inside the doctor's office, and my mom was right there and she was comforting me, and I remember her telling me, don't worry about it. It's you gonna still have your babies. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. So we left out of there, and the doctor, he was really sweet and nice about it, and very concerned. He's like, don't give up. And so after we left, I went home, and I was like, breaking the news to my husband about it. And
when I found out about this, I was like, what's the options? And basically they were saying to her that her egg reserve,
they said your
ovarian,
which is low egg reserve. So one ovary has a certain amount and the other ovary has a certain amount. So basically your less chances are of conceiving are very small, minimal.
Slim to none.
Yeah.
And what they told her also, that there was a 4% chance that we would conceive naturally. And so, my wife gave me the news, and she was very taken aback. That really just it set us back a little bit, mentally. So I was like, well, nah, because the God we serve, we ain't going to accept that.
Right.
And so the options were, like she said, adoption or donor's egg. Now, with the adoption, I don't know if anybody ever went through that process of trying to adopt. It's not an easy process as you would think it is. Adoption wasn't anything that was on our hearts to do.
Right.
And at the time, I was like, a donor's egg?
Yeah.
Nah. Donor's egg, I don't know at the time what I had against. I guess I was just more like, I want this child to be between you and me. This
Right.
came from us, our biological makeup, so to say. That was 2018, December of 2018. We got that news. And so, my wife, she was very, I could see her going into like more of a depressive type
state,
because of this. And it really made me see and realize, like, not every female, but like a lot of females, this is a big thing. This kind of makes you feel like a woman, like a female, like feminine, having a baby. At least I know for my wife, that was a desire, that she had greatly on her heart. And I think it made her feel less.
It made me feel less like I wasn't able to do as far as have children from you, and and it just hurt. It was just that piece that hurt so bad at the bottom. And at that moment, going through the depression and everything, and then on top of that, as leading, like, I'm just gonna have to just give up.
Yeah.
I went to all that, basically.
So for me, the way I was raised, the first thing that I was doing, like, all right, we're God's kids. Let's call on God, right? Now my wife, she was talking to her mom, I believe, and was considering the donor's egg. Like, hey, why don't y'all do donor's egg? And again, at the time, this was December 2018. I wasn't trying to have it.
Right.
And so I was kind of like, nah, let's just keep, trying. And despite what the doctors say,
right,
let's give it a shot. Let's give God a chance to do this. All right. So now 2019 comes in. And in 2019, I wanted to do something for us to take our minds off of like the baby, because I knew the baby was in our plans, but it just wasn't happening at the time. And so we always knew that we was gonna, purchase another home from the home that we were living in at the time.
Right.
And we always knew that one of the things that came in my mind, and I know like every other person that's a born again believer, is like, look, let's show God we ready for this, right? So here's what we did, y'all. We went out and we bought some baby clothes. And we saying, God, look, the highest level of faith, right, is to actually plan. That's the highest level of faith. You plan it, and then you go and do it. right? That shows God, you know, God, look, see, we're ready. I know we're not pregnant yet, but we're going to prepare and show you we're ready for this kid. So we go out, we buy some onesies, we buy some baby clothes, and we buy some bibs and stuff. We put it in the closet. And then we went out, and I'm trying to make sure I got the order right. Did we get a house or did we get a vehicle first?
No, we had already had the house.
No. I want to back up to let them know when we got the house.
We got the house.
We got the house first?
Yes.
Okay, so we went and purchased a house, a bigger house. Right. And we're like, God, we're ready for this family. You know, let's get a big house. We got a bigger house, more rooms, and we dedicated a room to the baby. This is the baby room right here. Nobody touch this room. We go in the room in the mornings, pray, you know, things like that. This is the baby room. And so we were contemplating even buying like a crib and doing all this other stuff.
Preparing.
Because we wanted this that bad. Okay. So fast forward, we also bought a vehicle. Another vehicle. Now, my wife always wanted like a SUV. You know, I had an SUV already. She wanted something, you know, upgraded. You know, it's gonna upgrade because the baby seat got to go in the back, and you know, the baby.
That's all.
Okay, we bought an SUV, and for me, I'm like, this is helping take her mind off of this. And I forgot to mention at the same time when the doctor did give us that news, I had bought my first camera at the time. We had a camera. You know, a little starter Canon, right? And so I'm trying to film everything. I'm like, babe, let's go ahead and document this. Let's film this and let's just put it on because God's going to do it and we're going to have a testimony and we're going to do it. All right. So here we are writing down in the journal, you know, trying to get how we feel. I'm trying to document this stuff. And then now we bought a vehicle, brand new vehicle. You know, we went and we're showing all the family like, oh, look at this. Yeah, we got another vehicle. So we got a house, got the vehicle. And then tragedy hit. Yeah. Tragedy struck. My wife's mom got sick. And it was hard, you know. That was a moment. And her mom ended up passing away, and that was hard. I watched my wife, you know, from all the things that we were trying to do and get our mind off the baby, and you know, and then going through that whole bit, like,
that was a lot.
That was a lot, and I think that was the thing, you know. After my mother-in-law passed,
because she passed that May.
Yeah.
She took sick that February, right
when we got the vehicle.
Yeah, right after we got the vehicle. Because I got the news about the baby in December, and then she got sick February. And then dealing with her, then it would just happen so fast. And then she passed that May of 2019. So, but yeah.
When she passed, that was a whole new, like I saw the depression, you know,
even
on my wife's
more.
face.
Yeah.
I saw it before, and then we tried to do things like, let's get a house. Then she went into a deeper depression, into which at this point we started to go to a counselor. Like, hey, we need counseling with this. This is a heavy situation. You know, God, I don't know how you're going to get us out of this one. And so we started going to counseling. At the time, you know, we had joined up with a group at this church called Faith Assembly. Shout out Faith Assembly. And, you know, we knew friends there, and we had did counseling there for our marriage, even before we got married. So we knew people there. So we felt comfortable. We felt it wasn't going to be, you know, it just was the right fit. It was no bias. It was just like, we just need to talk to somebody, you know, about this. And they had a program. They have a program, a great, awesome program at the church that deals with grief. And so, you know, my wife and I started going there to see the counselors there, awesome people. And, you know, through the counseling, you know, the counseling was initially for like the depression, you know, especially with her mom passing away.
Because I went first. I went for they had a grief counseling session, so I went first, and then Gabriel came.
I came in, and it turned from grief counseling, you know, for her mom, to a combination, and then to baby. Like the baby thing never went away, and all that did was just kind of rehash the fact that at this point we're still not pregnant. And so we started talking to the counselor about this, and we gave the counselors the things that the doctor says and the options. Now, at this point, I would say that my heart, or whatever you want to call it, kind of softened up about we can't get no donor's egg, you know, to, you know what, maybe we can give it a try, right? And so 2019, I would say near the end of that year,
probably maybe November-ish?
Yeah, kind of like close to your birthday.
Yeah.
So we decided that let's give this donor eggs thing a try. Let's try to go through this process. Okay. Now, if you don't know about fertility, infertility, and just the process of doing that, it is a lot of money.
Right, we had to deal with the finances at the beginning.
Oh my God.
First.
That's something that we didn't plan for. Like, that's a lot of money, right? And so when decisions like that has to be made, that's a lot of money in that regard. I don't like to make quick decisions, and I like to kind of like see things through. Like, let's see how we're gonna pay for this and how we're gonna do this, and you know, this wasn't really in the plan, but now we gotta kind of write this in the plan and kind of, you know, see how that whole thing fits.
Yeah.
So the donor's egg, we got the process of how that works. And they sent us packages, and we had to do a package. And so we chose a package. We felt good with the package. The cost of that is upwards $25,000 to do this.
Yes.
Now, what we had to do, you know, we put our own money with this.
From our health savings account.
Just to let you guys know that working on the job, like insurance, your health insurance does not pay. At least ours does not cover infertility. They'll do certain things, like, you know, you take blood. They'll do little things, but when it comes to the nuts and bolts about infertility and IVF and, you know, all of that stuff, donor's egg, they don't pay. And so what we decided to do, because I didn't want to take a crazy loan to do that, we took the least size loan as we possibly could, and it was still high. And we used money that we had put aside or set aside for health type things, and we used that to reach that 25 plus, right, to pay for it. So we go through this, and we like, okay, yeah, you know, there's some hope, because now we're in this process. And for anybody who's dealing with infertility or whatever, I want you to really pay attention and listen to this testimony to the end. So we start this process. My wife had to get a lot of different shots and a lot of different...
Right, because we started that in January. Once we got approved.
After we paid. After we paid, we started that process. And I think it was like late December or January timeframe. Shot after shot after shot. I do these shots up until what they call transfer day. Now, as we're kind of contemplating this, before we even paid for it, you know, I mentioned it to my parents and my family. You know, I like to involve my family in things, in certain things. And this was one of those things, like, you know, hey guys, what you guys think about this? My mom said something to me. I never mentioned it to my wife, but she was like, hey, you know, my mom is like a dreamer, and she has these dreams. And she was like, you know, I had a dream. God says, you know, he wants to do it. You know, he wants to do this for you guys. Why don't you take that $25,000 and give it to the church in faith?
Yeah.
right? Do it as a faith thing. Now, she wasn't saying take $25K and give it to the church like right now. She was just saying in faith, why don't you pledge this, do it, give it to the church. And I thought about it like briefly and like, you know, and in my mind I was like, if I tell my wife now, after we already talked about it and we kind of like leaning towards that, you know, and now like, hey, I think we should cap it and let's just wait on God. You know, that's my second time. Like my wife, at the time I was just like, she ain't gonna have open ears to hear this. So anyway, needless to say, I never told her. And we went through our process. Okay, January, it takes like 6 weeks of shots or whatever.
Shots, everything, yeah.
So now we're in what, 2020?
This is in 2020.
We're in 2020. We're doing shots. We got a transfer date, which is February. February 11th.
It was like 11th or 12th. Yeah.
So we're like, yo, we got this transfer date. We all excited about it. We're doing the shots, making sure we're doing it right all the time. And we get there. Now, the thing about the eggs, the donor's egg, the lot of eggs that we chose, we had 6 eggs. And the way it works, and we didn't really understand this fully at the time, but the way it works is like, hey, you choose your lot and here's the options. You can choose a guaranteed, out of your 6 eggs, 4 eggs survives the thaw out process. That's at a certain price point, a price tier. You can go up to another tier and say, hey, you guarantee out of this 6 eggs, not only do 4 survive the thaw, but you have 4 eggs just in case something happens to the eggs. Right. If it's not ready for transfer, you got 4 eggs. Needless to say, we chose the other one, even though in us that was still high.
Too high.
We chose the one, hey, 4 thaw, and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So they go through the process. Out of the 6 eggs, we lost 2. 4 thawed out. We was like, good, that's that guarantee, right? They're like, now all we got to do is let the eggs meet the sperm, and we'll be good. We got 4, and we'll see what's happening.
Yep.
The eggs met the sperm, and they told us, yep, come in for your date in February to do the transfer. Okay, so by the time we got there, and I mean, we're doing everything. My wife had some socks. And it says, what does it say? It had a scripture on there or something like
faith.
that.
I think
by faith, all things possible, whatever. Okay, so we go to the fertility place, and they informed us, only through the process of letting the sperm and the egg fertilize, out of those 4, you got 1 left. He's like, what? 1. They're like, yeah, they explaining the process. Well, see, we look at how the cells, how the egg starts to create more cells or whatever. When it's fertilizing, we want to make sure it keeps going with that process. Well, 3 of them didn't make it.
Yep.
So we had 1, and I'm like, thank you, God, for the 1. Let's let this one. That's all we need.
Work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we need. And we go through, and they did the transfer. Successful transfer. We like, yes. And they said, come back 7 days later or something.
No,
we had to check back in at a certain time. Yeah. Because they
come back.
They transferred the eggs, and it had to sit a few days, or like I want to say it's like 7 days.
Right.
I'm not sure about that.
And then they want to do blood tests. Yep.
And then you do blood tests. You go and do a blood test, a pregnancy. They want to see your HCG levels. And they let you know if you're pregnant. So my wife went in that morning of the 7-day wait. We all excited. She got there, and I was at work, and she called me when she said, hey, I'm here, I'm about to go in. Cool. And we hung up the phone. Right. She went in, did the process, and they
actually called me.
No, you did the process of the blood test. Went
home. She came home.
Some hours later, they said they'll give you a call.
Yeah.
Hours later, I'm like, I know my wife's gonna call. We're gonna get this news. And so my wife calls hours later.
Yeah.
And she called me crying.
Yes. Because it didn't. Yeah.
She called me crying, and immediately, once I answered her, hello, I was like, It didn't work.
Yeah.
And guess what? It didn't work.
It was just like, you hear that news, like, oh, I fail again, another fail. It's like, man, I'm going through, it's like a fail after fail. At first you tell me I can't conceive, you can't conceive, and then naturally, and then right after that, my mother that passes away, and then turn right around, here it is, we try, and this fails again. So at first, then I'm questioning. And I don't know if I ever told you, but I question God.
Oh yeah,
a lot.
We had those discussions.
Yeah, question God a whole lot.
So I'm looking at my wife and I'm seeing her faith waver. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep a hundred with you guys. When my wife called crying and like, oh, the baby didn't make it, the first thing that came to my mind was like, all that money, all that money. Like, yo, we lost. I'm like, who won? The fertility office won, the donors person won. I'm like, the people who doing the administration, they won. They got the money regardless. I'm like, yo, we lost. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, that's 25K. And I'm like, we paying this back.
Yeah.
Imagine how it feels to try all these different things and then you go ultimate and you put money down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we not rich guys, you know. Let me rephrase that. Hold on. Let me rephrase that. We're wealthy people because our God can supply every need we have, you know, according to His riches and glory. So we're wealthy in the sense of, you know, my papa got money. My papa got wealth. My papa owns everything. You know, the cattle on 1,000 hills. Everything is my papa's. And so the word says, my papa says, hey, you know, whatever you need, just ask. Mm-hmm. Right? And so, but I'm saying, like, here at this moment, like, yo, 25K is 25K. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I see another spiral, like, here comes the depression. Here comes all these little things that was there before. Like, I'm like, man, we only been married. We got married 2017. Mm-hmm. So 2018 was kind of like, at the end of 2018, it's kind of like, boom, hit. Mm-hmm. 2019, boom, hit. Now in 2020, boom, hit. This was in February.
Yeah.
We all know what happened in
March, yep.
Boom, the whole world, the globe shut down.
Yeah. Okay.
Me and my wife, we had many conversations, but we ended up talking and saying, look, you know, let's just take this all the way off the table.
Yep.
Now, one thing I forgot to mention, I think I started getting to cameras 2019.
Well, 2019, or was it?
It definitely wasn't 2020.
No, I think it was 2019, like towards like the end.
Summer, close to the summertime. Yeah. 2019, you know, I got blessed, you know, shout out my pops, with a very nice camera. And so this camera was 10, 15, 100 times better than my starter camera. That camera made me want to upgrade our cameras. Mm-hmm. And I just said that to say, I myself started getting busy doing other things. I started having passions doing other things. I'm trying to pull my wife in. My wife is just thinking about the baby. And then, you know, of course, she's still grieving over the loss of her mom. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just a lot at the time. And so to hear this, you know, then the pandemic came. We talked and we just agreed, like, look, let's just, we're stagnant right here. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing we can do about that. So that baby's room that we had waiting for the baby, my wife is like, let's turn this into an office.
Yep.
I was like, yes. And so we went ahead and started painting. We started buying stuff.
Yep.
Sorry, baby, office.
Yep.
And so that office became our new baby. Mm-hmm. And we started, you know, doing things in that office and kind of getting things going. Mm-hmm. Pandemic is here. Now the office is getting used a lot. You know, I'm trying to get my camera skills up. I'm trying to do that whole thing, you know, along with, you know, the timeless sounds, you know, my partner JR, and we're just doing our thing. Got the cameras. I'm into that. We got the office. We're going. This is 2020. We're in pandemic mode, but we're doing our thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as time goes on, my son, he went into the military. I'm checking things off the list. Like, yep, wanted to do this. This was in the 5-year plan. Yep, this is done. That's done. This is done. We actually forgot about the baby thing. We turned the baby room into an office. And so now, here it is. My son comes home for Christmas. We're all excited. Yeah, little man home. And, me and my wife, we usually ride together when we go to church. And so this one particular time.
But before that, I ended up doing that nutrition, seeing the neighbor. I guess I was just trying to do this like work health kick type thing. So my neighbor next door, I was talking to her, and she's like, "Oh, you need to see this lady, and talk to her, just kind of get your gut, everything healthy." And I was like, "Okay, I'll give her a call." And I started talking to the lady, and she had me change a little bit of eating, and she also put me on some probiotic type medication, just kind of help with your gut and everything, and a different type of prenatal vitamins. She had me on, and I was seeing her for about 2 or 3 weeks. I started all that process, and now.
So, this one particular day, matter of fact, maybe a week or so before, my wife kept complaining like, got heartburn. And then, now, my wife always has heartburn. That's one of her, she can't eat certain, like a lot of tomato type stuff.
Spicy tomato-y food.
Yeah, because she gets her heartburn. And so my wife is the type of person, the minute she feels one thing, doctor. And I'm like, look, we can't keep going to the doctor every time you feel like you got heartburn or your arm hurt, or your stomach hurt or something like that. Going to the, like, I wasn't raised that way. I'm like, look, give it a little time, it'll feel better. So here it is. One Sunday, we're on our way to church. And my wife had just went to the doctor the week before. And she's like, oh man, I think I'm gonna schedule another appointment with the doctor. Right? I'm like, why? And she said, I don't know, my stomach. I'm like, you just went to the doctor. Like, the doctor said they couldn't find anything. Yeah. She's like, I don't know, just my stomach bothering me. I said, because it's not. I said, babe, look, your cycle is past your cycle. Because I'm keeping up with that, right?
Let's keep up with it.
Now, hold on. Now, my wife, her cycle seems to always sometimes go past or whatever like that.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah. I'm like, look, I've been watching your cycle. It should have been on at this. I was like, why don't you just take a pregnancy test? Why you keep running to the doctor? Just take a pregnancy test, alleviate that, get that off the table. Now we talk. Look, this is January.
Yeah, this is January.
January this year. I'm telling my wife, just do that. Stop going to the doctor. At least alleviate that. And then, so my wife's like, whatever. We get to church, we do our thing, we leave church, come home. My wife goes to take a pregnancy test. We done seen so many pregnancy tests. And
I was like, oh my God.
I was like, hey, you got it.
I was like, I didn't.
I'm going in the office.
Because here I go. I'm like, I'm going to get some devastating news. I don't want to take no pregnancy test. But I went on ahead and took the test. I said, okay, let me go ahead and give this a try. So I was like, well, I'm not going to sit here and watch. I'll just go into another room, just wait a little while. So I came into the bathroom and looked. And I said, I had to look twice to make sure to see what I was seeing. And it said, pregnant. And I said, wait a minute. So I said, Gabe, Gabe, come look at this.
Now let me reveal a secret. So here's the secret. Last year, 2020, as bad as that year was for the globe, I told God, I was like, Lord, before this year is out, my wife need to get pregnant. And she need to, God, I know you can do this. It's going to be miraculous. And here's why. My wife, 2020, the end of 2020, she's like, the fertility specialist would call to check up. And it's like, hey, you guys give it another try. And now I can see my wife, her eyes spinning like, hey, maybe we can give this thing another try. I'm like, no. That's $25K. So I said, look, God, I need you to help me with this. Because other than that, my wife's she's going to pester me until I break with this. And that's going to be $50K. Mm-hmm. So I said, God, I'm your child. I know you hear me. We're your children. Mm-hmm. If you see fit, bless us, with children of our own, right? Our own biological background, DNA, all of that stuff. And so when she went to take the test, I was like, hey, I'm going in the office. When she went in the bathroom, I'm like, Lord, let it be now. Have it now. Come on. And I went in the office. And when I heard, Gabe, I already knew. I was like, ooh. I was like, God, is this it? Is this it? She was like, you might want to come in here and look at this. And I went in there and I looked and it said, Pregos. And I dropped on my knees. Boom. I was like, yeah. So my wife was like, her face went from straight face to like,
I didn't know.
I got to do another one. I
was like, I got to do another test.
I got to do another test. Come on, let's go. Let's go to the store. Like I said, babe, I believe the first test. I said, I believe the first test.
As soon as we took that second test.
So a few hours later, she took a test again. Pregos. That's my word for pregnant.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. And I was so like amazed, right? And what it really did, for both of us, for me, it really just, in my life, I've been through a few things to confirm to me that my faith is real, to confirm to me that our God is real. He's pulled me out of some situations, and I know he's real. But this was something that I was like, okay, I got to do this with my wife. I can't let her see me lacking with faith. And number two, I can't lack with faith. Because these are the moments like, look, without faith it's impossible, right? And so I'm trying to show my wife at the same time, God, you with us? In my own secret time, like, hey, God, you with us? This gonna happen, right? Because I'm telling my wife, God's got us. But behind closed doors, I'm like, God, I know you got us, but like, when, are you gonna? And so for that to happen, I really, for my wife, like, it confirmed, I think, with her, but you can tell them what it did for you, just to see that. And just
even with all of that, it kind of brought me back to even with my mom before she left here. One thing she said, and her last words to me was, I asked his mom, I said, you won't be here to see my babies. And she said, before she left, she said, don't you worry about that. I will see them. She said, because you're going to have those babies. I already know it. I've already seen it. You're going to have those babies. And that to me, it just brought back, I just know, like, she was here, and during the time with everything that was going on, it just wasn't the time. And now I see God open up doors, like, you know what, now is the time. You've been through the tragedy of everything. Now I'm opening doors for you both. And it's just like, wow, I see God's work, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Well said. And I mean, this is a testimony for that person that may be going through that infertility moment or season. And I'm not saying that like going to an infertility specialist or doing that whole process is bad or anything like that. I'm not saying that. God raises up, different folks and people and doctors and things like that to do things in those ways. But what I am saying is, never put your hope and trust in that, right? Mm-hmm. That is a resource, but God is your source. So never lose sight of your source. And it took me back, once found out that she was pregnant, we found that out, and then we did the math, and guess when she conceived? Somewhere around Christmas time.
Yep.
Which was 2020, which God fulfilled that question I asked, God, can you do it this year? So I asked in that year. So that really, like, the precision of that, he didn't let the year go by incomplete without doing that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, what is man that God is mindful of him, right? But that's our Father. That's our Heavenly Father, and he wants to, bless you. He wants to open doors that no man can shut. I mean, one of the things that we didn't mention, in this, that I'll say now, we did a lot of praying too.
Yeah.
This wasn't just sitting by the way. We did some praying. We did asking specifically.
We did fasting.
We fasted.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. I forgot. We started a fast. This was so funny. We fasted the week in January or sometime
the week that I found. Yeah.
The week she found out, we started a fast. So
I was even finished the fast.
She couldn't finish the fast, and I was like, babe, just break the fast. Cause she was like, I gotta eat, my stomach. Oh. I was like, and in my mind, I'm like, oh boy. I was like, Robin, you okay. I said I'll complete the fast for us. Go ahead and break your fast and eat. Because you shouldn't die trying to do a fast. I said I'll finish this fast. You go and eat. And then we found out she was pregnant. So I'm like, I'm glad she broke the fast. But I'm just saying, I said that to say that we didn't just sit around and do nothing. And God, we waiting on you. Like, we did a lot of things in between time, a lot of praying, a lot of seeking, a lot of asking, and then a lot of, okay, we prayed, let it go.
Yep.
A lot of just like releasing. And even during the times that I got into my camera stuff, I started going to record people. And guess what the amount of stories that I was getting? Infertility. Mm-hmm. Even like the first people I recorded on testimony is my sister Pam and her husband Ty. And she gave a testimony about they were starting that process, but God intervened and stepped in. Mm-hmm. Another couple, they went through the whole process, and God, through the infertility specialist, intervened. They had a 18-year-long gap.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing like, man, there's a lot of infertility stories out there, right? And we just wanted to do that to show ours. Again, I don't knock any method of how you're going to do it, but I'm just saying for ours, God really stepped in, and God, he did a miracle for us. This is a miracle. The doctor said we won't be able to have kids naturally. And if we do, that would be like a 2 to 4% chance, which they were like, it ain't gonna happen. And so to look at her now, she's 3+ months, pregnant with our child, and we couldn't be more delighted and more happier. We're gonna be parents.
Yep. A new chapter.
We just turn that page.
Yeah.
This is a brand new chapter, and I'm excited about it. For me, this is kid number 2. Kid number 1, Markel, I raised since the age of 6, and he's 20. He's 20 now, and so now I feel like I'm starting over. I'm in my 40s, right? Don't I look good? I'm in my 40s, and somebody made a joke like, "Hey, so when your kid graduates, you're gonna be in your 60s." I said, "I'm gonna look just like this." In my 60s, I'm gonna look just like this. Be like, "Congratulations, babe. Go ahead." But that's all we wanted to say. We wanted to just drop this encouragement, this testimony. You know, I know it's a bit long, but I guarantee, if you take heed to what we're trying to say, meaning, give Jesus a try, give God a chance, be patient in your season.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be patient. We waited since 2017, since we got married. Like, come on.
And some people wait longer than
Some
that.
people wait longer. And I would say while you wait, get busy in the things of God. Fill your time with the things of the Lord, and God will openly bless you for the things you do behind closed doors in secret. So this is Gabe signing off, and this is my beautiful wife,
Robin,
and my baby mama. We signing off. So I hope this blesses somebody. And yes, we will be doing a gender reveal really soon. That means we already know what we're gonna have.
Yep. Stay tuned.
But yeah, we invite you guys to it. So salute. God bless.
Bye.